It's the FNA Show on 95.5 The Game.
We are back, man. The FNA Show, we are jam-packed in the studio. Of course, you got myself, Matt Finkus, our executive producer, Adam Sabi, former Buckeye Hoopster George Reese in with us. And, George, thank you on this one, man, for sure. Buckeye Hoops legend and CBS college basketball analyst, the one and only Clark Kellogg, joins us. Hey, Clark, what's up?
Hey, good morning, guys. Arch, good to visit with you. Great to hang out with George and Matt as well as we get ready for this meeting between two top 5 teams tonight.
Well, you know, the consensus here, from what we're hearing from people calling in and stuff like that, they're afraid that the Buckeyes might be a little bit ahead of themselves with this number 3 ranking going into the Breslin. What's your take on tonight, and do you think that they'll be exposed?
Clearly it'll be a challenge. I mean, Michigan State, to me, has national championship potential. This team has talent. They're experienced. They're extremely well coached. I mean, we've got 2 of the best coaches in the country on those sidelines tonight. And 2 teams that I think are going to fight hard and compete well. And we'll see how it plays out. Michigan State presents quite a few matchup problems just because they have so many guys that can score the ball. Gary Harris is terrific at shooting the 3, driving it, making plays. Appling is playing as well as any point guard in the league, in the country rather. So they've got their hands full, but the Buckeyes, I think they'll rise to the fight. It'll be a tough one, but if they can rebound and be alert and locked in defensively, not give up too many easy scoring opportunities, I think they'll have a chance to be in the game throughout and maybe pull off an upset there.
You know, I mean, this is one of those things, talking with Clark Kellogg here, as a football player, you know, when we would play Rice and you play Pitt and you play those teams that athletically aren't up to the standard you are, I think that the Buckeyes, even with that Marquette win, they haven't played anyone who's athletically equal or better than them yet. I think this Michigan State team does pose that problem for them. What do you have to do to adjust to that style of play?
Well, you know what? I don't think it's a significant adjustment because you have a number of guys that have faced Michigan State throughout their careers. Aaron Kraft and Lenzel Smith Jr., LaQuentin Ross got a taste of it last year, so I don't think there'll be any problem rising to the level of the intensity and athleticism of Michigan State. I really don't think that's an issue. Once you turn the switch on to conference play, guys that have experienced conference play understand who they're facing when you go to the Breslin Center, when you go to Madison. So I don't really think it's a big issue. I think it's more about mental preparation and alertness and aggressiveness and execution, because these guys know what Michigan State is, they know who they are, and they know what it's going to take to try to beat that team on their floor. It's a matter of being able to put forth the execution to give yourself a chance to do that.
Hey, Clark, how you doing, man? It's George.
Hey, good morning, George. How
good morning,
are you,
good morning. Look, we already know about the perimeter matchups and the experience that they pose with Aaron Kraft and Shannon Scott. One of the matchups that kind of worries me is Adrian Payne and Amir Williams. Can you tell us about how Adrian Payne, the problems that he poses as far as stretching the defense and being able to mix it up in the lane?
Well, he's really grown as a player, George, as you well know. I mean, he started slowly his freshman year, but just continued to work, and now he's one of the elite 4 men in college basketball because of his inside-out versatility. I mean, he can post you. Although I don't think that's his strong suit, he can get shots in the post with his back to the basket. I think he's a very underrated and undervalued passer. And he's got a partner down there that really is a concern in Brandon Dawson. When you can tag team guys like Payne and Dawson needs the ball. He doesn't need plays called for him. He's a terrific rebounder. Looks like he's fully recovered from the torn ACL of a year and a half ago. He's confident. He's assertive. And he's been on a tear since the loss to North Carolina. So I think it's them in tandem that presents a problem. Payne has the ability to step out and make threes and make long twos. He's active on the glass. He can run the floor. So you've got to be very attentive to trying to make it hard for him and then keeping an eye on Dawson on that backside glass.
And we have Buckeye Hoops legend Clark Kellogg on with us here on the FNA Show. Clark, would love to know your ranking, or where do you have Aaron Kraft as far as all-time Buckeye guards? And really, if you could just kind of expand that into just the play of him and Shannon Scott and what they've been able to do just early on in the season.
Well, you start with Aaron. He is such a high-character, high-quality person and individual, and he brings that persona to the court. And then you add that with his skill set, tremendous strength for that position, excellent quickness laterally and end-to-end, the consummate point guard, in that he's looking to get other people involved and do whatever his team needs. And he knows that most of his work is at the point of attack defensively, pressuring the ball, containing the ball, wreaking havoc on the opposing team's offensive system, and then also creating opportunities for his teammates and being able to take advantage of his own. I mean, I think he's the consummate point guard and one of the very best that we've had in the history of Ohio State basketball as a point guard. I mean, I played with Kelvin Ramsey, who was elite and high level, not quite the defender that Aaron is. I don't know if we've had a point guard quite as good as him defensively. I'd have to look back to the 60s. Teams to maybe match up a guy defensively that was as good as Aaron, but he's clearly one of the top few point guards that have ever worn the scarlet and gray, and he's having a really solid, and I think he's having a terrific senior year, reigning player of the week as we speak, and he did it by virtue of not averaging double digits in points, and that is a rarity. As a matter of fact, keep an eye on all the player of the weeks throughout college basketball in your spare time, guys. I don't know if you'll find another player of the week who hasn't averaged double digits in scoring. It's just a testimony to what he does outside of scoring the ball.
Well, I mean, and this Buckeye team has really been built around that hustle, that defense, and playing an in-your-face style. The question I've asked everyone when we've talked about Ohio State basketball this year, Thad Matta's teams have always had that premier guy, that premier scorer. Last year it was Deshaun Thomas. This year, no one has really stepped up into that role. I mean, LeQuentin has been there at times. Mm-hmm. He's starting to kind of feel develop that, but you're seeing more of a spread in the scoring here, and that's something that's kind of out of the norm for a Thad Matta team.
Yeah, it is a little bit, but Thad is one of the outstanding coaches in the game, and you go with what is going to give you the best chance to win, and you customize how you attack things based on your personnel. And I think LeQuentin will continue to grow into being a primary, prominent scorer. I think his numbers will continue to increase. But coaches will tell you it's nice to have multiple ways to get the ball in the basket and multiple players who can do that in double-digit fashion for you. Clearly the Buckeyes are predicated on defense creating a good portion of offense for them, but that was the case last year, and then they found the rhythm offensively, a better rhythm offensively as the season progressed, and I don't think there's going to be any difference in that ascension as we move forward. And Linzel Smith Jr. is capable and solid. Aaron can get numbers when games require that from him. Amir Williams has shown some improvement. So I think the offense will be fine as long as guys keep working and show improvement. And with Thad Matta and that coaching staff on the sideline, that's pretty much guaranteed to happen.
And Clark Kellogg, before we cut you loose, man, it just seems like in football the SEC always loves to kind of puff out their chest. but really in the last 4 or 5 years, maybe even a little further back than that, what the Big Ten has been able to do as far as on a national landscape. I mean, if you could just kind of speak to that, and we'll cut you loose. But I'd love to know how you feel about the Big Ten and where it stands as far as everybody else in the country.
Well, conference strength and preeminence in many ways is fairly cyclical. You're always going to have a little bit of a shuffling at the top, and the Big Ten has pretty much always stayed in that top 2, 3, occasionally may drop down to 4th in conference overall strength, but that's a rarity. For the most part, the Big Ten is always one of the top 3 conferences in the country, and on occasion, and many years, has been one of the top 1 or 2. And that's where the league, I think, has been the last few years because of the quality of coaching. The players obviously drive that too. And then your success within your own league, but when you step outside of the league too. So I think the Big Ten is right there again, along with the Big 12. I think the Pac-12 has improved, but you'd be hard-pressed not to consider the Big Ten and the Big 12 probably your 2 strongest conferences based on performance to date when you look at top, middle, and bottom. And we'll see how it plays out the rest of the way. But the Big Ten always is well represented and well thought of, and to me has been one of the best basketball conferences for multiple decades.
There you go, legendary Buckeye Hoops legend, CBS college basketball analyst, and good luck with those Pacers too, Clark.
Yeah, we've got Toronto hopefully tonight, depending on if they can get into town. But they're playing well, and it's great to be part of a great organization and a really, really fun team to watch.
I know y'all sitting pretty out there in Indianapolis, but buying them to Miami, does that shake things up for you up there a little bit? Would that shake things up?
Well, the last time I read the headline, it was to Cleveland, but there's been some additional work on that move now.
Right.
No,
Clark. We have a side bet going on.
We got a side bet coming on. I'm saying Bynum's done. Nobody wants him, and these guys are trying to tell me that
the Heat will give him a look.
That LeBron wants to take that headache on down there.
You guys are doing real talk radio on me.
Right. Hey, Clark, man, thanks so much.
Okay. All right, guys. Take care.
There he goes, Clark Kellogg.
You just heard a badass podcast on the FNA Show. And make sure to tune in every Monday through Friday from 9 till noon.
And the Breslin Center is alive on a very emotional afternoon. Michigan is in town. Yes, that's one factor, but it's Seniors Day. Always an emotional time. Cleves penetrating again. Finds Hudson. Cleves out front. Reloads it with 10 to go on the shot clock. To the back line, Hudson. And one. Cleves the other way. Cleves in lane. They only had 4 turnovers in the first half of this one. Here's Cleves, clears for 3. Bring it up. You know, you're so used to 13 assists from Mateen Cleves. Mateen Cleves slicing up the Wolverines. Michigan's just got to keep
You had me at slicing up the Wolverines, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we just got done talking to a Buckeye basketball legend. Why not go onto the other side and grab ourselves a Sparty Hoops legend? Joining us on the FNA Show, the one and only Mateen Cleves. Hey, Mateen, what's up, man?
Fellas, what's going on, man? How you guys doing? Hey, George, what's up?
What's going on, Mateen? What's going on, man?
Oh, I'm just hanging in there taking it one day.
I'm taking care of you over here. We gave you an intro and everything, man. You know, that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen too often.
You guys got me back excited. You know, I'm thinking about getting back in shape and playing again. No, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate it, guys. What's up?
Hey, Mateen, and we'll break down tonight's game for sure, but we just got done talking to Clark Kellogg, and we kind of finished the discussion with him just as far as Big Ten basketball and the way that Big Ten fans can kind of puff their chest out during the wintertime. We got a 3 and a 5 tonight, man. This is just your thought on Big Ten basketball before we get into the matchup tonight at the Breslin.
It's great. It's great for the whole conference. And, you know, we have our battles once we play. You know, when we have our time at school, and George understands this, but, you know, once you get outside, you know, and you get a little older, it's all about the Big Ten. And it's a fraternity, and we take pride in our conference. And I know after, you know, playing in the NBA, you know, when you go around the league, you talk a lot of trash about different conferences, and everybody talks about their conference. And I'm pretty sure that, you know, with guys that played abroad and everything like that, it's all about your conference. So I take a lot of pride in being alumni of the Big Ten, and I'm just excited and about the season that, you know, coming about, because we got some really good teams this year.
You know, looking at this matchup here, you got a 3 and a 5 going at each other. I've been talking about how Ohio State really hasn't had to match up with a team that's athletically they're equal or better that they're going to have to deal with in Michigan State. But has Michigan State had to match up with a team that provides a defensive pressure that Ohio State does?
Now, you know what? I don't think we've seen, Michigan State have seen, you know, a team this good on the defensive end. And it starts with Aaron Craft. I mean, I love Aaron Craft. I would take him on my team any day of the week. I mean, he sets the tone, and as well as Shannon Scott. I mean, the backcourt defends so well. But, I mean, just with the athletes you guys have and, you know, defensive concepts that Coach Mata puts together, it's a challenge for Michigan State tonight, you know, I mean, to be able to go up against this, because I don't think – that's a good question, because I don't think Michigan State has seen a team this good on the defensive end.
We talk about the perimeter defense, you know, like back in the day, you had Scooney Mike, you know, and Brian Brown, and you had Mo P, and Charlie Bell. Give me a matchup that's under the radar that people might not look forward to, but is going to be key in this game today.
Well, it's hard to go for a matchup, you know, under the radar, because, you know, everybody, you know, on both teams are pretty much known.
Right.
I'm just going to say, you know, I got to go right there at the point guard spot. Okay. You know, and it goes back probably even before me, but I remember me and Scooney had our battle. But Aaron Craft and Keith Ablin, that's going to be fun to watch, because Aaron Craft, in my opinion, is the best defender in the country. And Keith Ablin has been doing a phenomenal job as a senior at running the team and setting the table. So I think just that matchup right there might dictate how this game, you know, how the outcome will be, you know, because, like I said, with Keith Ablin, he's been playing so good. So I think whoever can win that battle,
right?
It's going to see who's going to pull this game off.
Mateen Cleves joining us here on the F&A show. Of course, big matchup tonight, 9 o'clock at the Breslin Center. Number 3, Ohio State. Number 5, Michigan State. I don't want to put you on the spot, Mateen, because I want you to talk about Coach Izzo. And I was going to say, hey, give us something that maybe Buckeye fans or Big Ten fans might not know. But just talk about Coach Izzo, where he is at now with that program. It's amazing to kind of, we're witnessing something that I don't think we're really giving it justice, and I hope we do while he's still there. But talk about Coach Izzo, and if you could, maybe give us a little something that we maybe never heard about him.
Well, I mean, with Coach Izzo, first of all, I mean, you got a guy has had a ton of success coaching, but he's a better person than he is a coach, and I think that's what kind of separates him from a lot of coaches. Now, he's one of the best in the business, and I think Coach Izzo is one of the best at preparing his teams. You know, if you look at the timeouts, his teams score points out of timeouts when he draws certain plays, and he's one of the best at putting kids in situations where they can be successful. And I think that's what helped Coach Izzo so much. And I just remember, man, being 18 years old and being recruited by Coach Izzo, and the program wasn't what it is now. And it wasn't, an easy decision to make to go to Michigan State at the time when I was coming up, because I was coming out highly touted. And like I said, it wasn't the sexiest thing that, do is go to Michigan State. But Coach Izzo, I saw something in him. And what it is just like a guy that a great motivator. And a lot of these coaches sell you dreams. And with Coach Izzo, I just felt that he was honest, and he just really believed in what he was going to do and get that program changed. So I think his ability, and all the great coaches got it. Coach Mata has it. I mean, they know what to say, when to say it, and how to say it to get guys motivated to play. And I think that's why every year you look at a Coach Izzo and a Coach Mata, they're always at the top. Their teams always have a chance to win championships.
The last couple of years, Mateen, it seems to me the bench has really been the deciding factor. I mean, when you talk about Ohio State, when you talk about Michigan State, even Michigan to a degree, the starting five talent-wise are right there, but Michigan State has really had the advantage on the bench of bringing guys off the bench with that depth. Ohio State, Thad has been known for not using the bench very well. He's using it more this year. Do you think that that's going to make this game a little bit tighter or make a difference in this game with Ohio State playing a little bit more of a Michigan State style depth and bench?
Well, I definitely do, and it's going to probably go down to whose bench can step up, and Michigan State got a really good bench. Denzel Valentine's been playing good. Travis Trice, Ohio State as well. So it's every guy that steps on that floor tonight is going to have to add something. And what a game! 3 and 5, right? And this is what it's all about. This is what you go to these big time schools for, a national televised game. So it's going to see, who can step up, who can be that person that, that'll never be forgotten. Because these fans at both schools, they don't forget these type of games. So who can step up, tonight and bring something special to the table and help get their team over the hump?
I mentioned some of the stories that we talked about back in the day about how Coach Izzo had you guys in the football pads and doing the rebounding drills. And the one game that Michigan State did lose this year was against North Carolina, and they were dominated on the boards. How key is that? How key is that rebounding today in the Breslin Center?
Oh, it's huge. It's huge, especially at home. Adrian Payne and Brandon Dawson, they're going to have to come out and set the tone down low. And Dawson and Payne definitely has the ability to go out and get you 10 to 12 rebounds a night, and that's something where I think the NBA scouts want to see him get better at. But it's going to be key. Whenever you got to be able to control the tempo, get started, but you got to rebound well. Both coaches, Stan Mata and coaches, they coach rebounding. And yeah, you hit it on the nail, man. You got, after you beat up on us down there in Columbus, man, we come back and Coach Izzo had us in football pass because he didn't think we were tough enough as a team.
It's only right.
So I would blame you for that. But thank you guys because it got us tougher and helped us in the long run. But it's gonna be huge on the rebound. That's something we all should keep our eye on to see who can win the rebounding battle.
We're talking with Mateen Cleves. You can catch him on CBS Sports Network. He does a lot of NCAA basketball analysts on there. The last question, Mateen. George and Archie are going to play in a little 2-on-2 game. George has said that he commands a double team wherever he goes. Now, it's me and J.J. Sullinger against George, and no offense to Archie, but Archie's never played anything in his life, and he's not a real good athlete. Does George really going to demand the double team?
Better tell him, Mateen. You better tell him, Mateen.
You know what, J.J. Sullinger, he comes from, the family, the bloodline is terrific, but, hey, George, man, it's going to be tough to stop him. He was a tough cover for us. I'm pretty sure he's in pretty good shape. I like that, George. Keep that confidence, baby.
Their team is not lacking in confidence. If it's not lacking anything, it's confidence.
Hey,
love it.
Tell him, Mateen, I'm not coming off the bench out here. I'm coming fresh out the beginning of the game out here. I'm not coming off the bench.
Oh, man.
We getting started.
I played in the exhibition football game, and they brought me off the bench, and I got in, and I threw an interception. and I told him, I'm not used to coming off the bench. That was the problem. I started my whole life, football and basketball.
There he is, man. Yeah. Mateen Cleves, thank you so much, Mateen. Don't be a stranger. We got to have you back on here, my man.
Man, Archie, it's my pleasure. George, you know it's big.
You already know
it. Baby, enjoyed the battles, man.
Yes,
and I
sir.
appreciate you guys having me on.
Appreciate
awesome
this
stuff,
man.
Mateen Cleves, ladies and gentlemen. There he is. And I had always heard that he is just one of the coolest guys ever.
Yeah.
And that
you can hear the smile. You can hear the smile while he's talking.
You just heard a badass podcast on the FNA Show. And make sure to tune in every Monday through Friday from 9 till noon.